Listen carefully. I will say this only once. You are not poor because the world conspired against you. You are not struggling because you lack intelligence, or talent, or opportunity. You are poor because there is something inside you, something hidden, something you refuse to see that is blocking the flow of abundance into your life. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. What I am about to tell you will disturb you. It will make you uncomfortable. It may even make you angry. Good. That anger, that resistance you feel rising in your chest right now, that is the very thing we need to examine. Because what blocks you is not the world. It is you. You have been running from yourself for so long that you have forgotten what you are running from. You have blamed circumstances, the economy, your parents, your education, bad luck, timing. But deep down, in the quiet moments when you are alone with yourself, you know the truth. You know that there is something within you that sabotages every attempt at prosperity. Something that whispers, "You don't deserve this," whenever success comes near. Something that makes you recoil from abundance as if it were poison. This is your unconscious speaking, and until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. If this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. Stop running from yourself. The time has come to face what you have been avoiding. The time has come to descend into the darkness of your own psyche and retrieve the power you have left there, abandoned and forgotten. From the moment you opened your eyes as a child, you were being programmed. Not with words always, but with feelings, with tensions, with the emotional atmosphere that surrounded money in your home. You absorbed everything. The arguments your parents had about bills, the fear in your mother's voice when she talked about expenses, the shame your father felt when he couldn't provide, the guilt associated with wanting more. The belief that money corrupts, that wealthy people are greedy, that poverty is noble, that struggle is virtue. You were too young to question these beliefs. You simply absorbed them as truth, as the fundamental reality of existence. And they sank deep into your unconscious mind, where they have remained ever since, operating silently, invisibly, directing your financial life from the shadows. This is what I call the personal unconscious, the repository of everything you have experienced and repressed, forgotten but not gone. These early experiences with money formed what we might call a complex, an emotionally charged cluster of ideas and images that has autonomous power over your behavior. Your money complex acts like a separate personality within you. It has its own agenda, its own beliefs, its own emotional reactions. And whenever you try to move toward wealth, this complex activates and sabotages you. Listen to me carefully. You are living a script you did not write. Your financial life is not your own. It belongs to the unconscious patterns you inherited and absorbed before you could even speak. Until you see this, nothing will change. You will continue to work hard, to try new strategies, to read books about wealth, to make plans and set goals, and you will continue to fail. Because the block is not in your strategies. The block is in your psyche. Now we must go deeper. We must speak of the shadow. The shadow is everything about yourself that you have rejected, denied, repressed. It is the parts of you that you decided were unacceptable, shameful, dangerous, and you have been running from your shadow your entire life, expending enormous energy to keep it hidden, to keep it in the darkness. But here is the terrible truth. What you reject does not disappear. It goes into the unconscious, where it gains power, where it begins to control you from behind the scenes. Your shadow has been directing your financial life, and you have been calling it fate. What is in your money shadow? Let us look together, though I warn you, this will not be pleasant. Perhaps you have shadow desire for wealth, a deep burning hunger for money that you consider greedy, shameful, unspiritual, so you repress it. You tell yourself you don't care about money, that you're above such material concerns. But the desire remains in the shadow, and because it is unconscious, it sabotages you. It creates what appears to be self-sabotage, but is actually the shadow's way of punishing you for denying it. Or perhaps you have a shadow fear of wealth. Deep down, you believe that if you became wealthy, you would become someone you despise, selfish, disconnected, corrupted. You associate money with the negative qualities you saw in wealthy people as a child. So your unconscious protects you from this fate by ensuring you remain poor. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. This is real. This is operating in you right now. Or perhaps your shadow holds the belief that you are fundamentally unworthy, that you are damaged, inadequate, insufficient. This unworthiness was impressed upon you in childhood, perhaps through criticism, through comparison, through emotional neglect, and now it sits in your shadow, blocking wealth, because to receive abundance would contradict this core identity. The shadow also contains what I call the negative father or negative mother complexes related to money. Perhaps your father struggled financially, and you unconsciously believe that to surpass him would be a betrayal. So you limit yourself to his level, out of loyalty to a pattern you don't even see. Or perhaps your mother taught you that wanting money is selfish, that you should be satisfied with little, that ambition is unattractive. And this voice still speaks in your shadow, sabotaging every attempt at abundance. The shadow is not your enemy. Listen to this carefully. The shadow is the part of yourself you abandoned in order to survive, in order to be loved, in order to be accepted. And now you must go back for it. You must retrieve it. You must integrate it. Because locked in your shadow is not just your blockages locked, there is also your power, your authentic desire, your right to abundance, your permission to be fully yourself. All of this is trapped in the shadow, and it is draining your life force, creating depression, anxiety, a sense of being stuck. Now we must speak of projection, for this is perhaps the most insidious way your unconscious blocks your wealth. Projection is the psychological mechanism by which you take something from your interior world and cast it onto the exterior world. You see in others what you cannot see in yourself. You blame in the world what is actually operating within you. When you look at money and feel disgust, that is projection. When you look at wealthy people and feel contempt, that is projection. When you look at your bank account and feel shame, that is projection. You are not seeing money as it actually is. You are seeing your own unconscious attitudes, beliefs, and wounds reflected back to you. Money has become a screen upon which you project your shadow. This is why no external change will fix your financial situation. You can change jobs, change cities, change strategies, but you take your projections with you. The internal remains external until you make it conscious. Let me be direct with you. If you believe the economy is blocking you, you are projecting. If you believe the rich are keeping you down, you are projecting. If you believe you are unlucky with money, you are projecting. These may have elements of external truth, but your emotional charge around them, your sense of victimhood, your helplessness, this is projection. What blocks you is not the world, it is you. And I say this not to shame you, but to empower you. Because if the block is internal, then the key to unlocking it is also internal. You have been giving your power away by projecting responsibility onto external circumstances. Take your power back. Withdraw your projections. See money not as the enemy or the savior, but as neutral energy that reflects your own internal state. Let us now examine the persona, the mask you wear for the world, the acceptable face you present to gain approval and belonging. Your persona around money is likely a lie. You perform a role. Perhaps you perform the role of someone who doesn't care about money, someone above such concerns, someone spiritual and non-materialistic. Or perhaps you perform the role of the struggling artist, the noble sufferer, the one for whom poverty is proof of authenticity. But beneath the persona, in the hidden chambers of your psyche, there is a different truth. There is desire, fear, rage, shame, all the things your persona denies. The persona costs you enormous energy. Every day you maintain this false face, you are splitting yourself, dividing your psyche between what you show and what you hide. And this split is exhausting. It drains the very life force you need to create wealth. Moreover, the persona attracts circumstances that match its false presentation. If your persona says, "I don't care about money," then money will not come to you, because you have told the world, and more importantly, told your unconscious that you don't want it. Listen carefully. I will say this only once. You must remove the mask. You must stop performing. You must allow yourself to want what you actually want, to fear what you actually fear, to be who you actually are. Only then can you individuate. Only then can you become whole. Only then can wealth flow to you naturally, as an expression of your integrated self. The false self cannot receive. Only the true self can receive. Because receiving requires vulnerability, requires admitting that you need, that you want, that you are not complete within yourself. And the persona cannot admit these things. The persona must appear invulnerable, self-sufficient, above need. So your persona blocks the very abundance you unconsciously desire. It is a defense mechanism that has become a prison. Now we descend deeper still into what I call the collective unconscious, the layer of the psyche that is shared by all humanity, that contains the universal patterns and images we call archetypes. There is an archetype of poverty that lives in the collective human psyche. It is the noble sufferer, the holy beggar, the one who proves spiritual purity through material lack. This archetype has been reinforced by centuries of religious teaching that proclaimed wealth as obstacle to heaven, poverty as path to God. This archetype lives in you even if you consciously reject these teachings. It is in the collective unconscious, and it can possess you, can speak through you, can direct your financial life from the depths. When this archetype is active in you unconsciously, you will find yourself unconsciously choosing poverty, finding nobility in struggle, feeling virtuous in your lack. You will subtly sabotage opportunities for wealth because to accept them would be to betray this archetypal identity. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. This archetype is operating in you right now if you have ever felt that poverty makes you more authentic, more real, more spiritual than those who pursue wealth. This is the archetype speaking, not your true self. There is also the archetype of the unworthy one, the one who deserves punishment, the one who must atone through suffering. If you carry unconscious guilt about your desires, about your very existence, this archetype will use poverty as your punishment. And there is the archetype of the child who must not surpass the parent. This one is particularly powerful. At the archetypal level, to become wealthier than your parents can feel like a betrayal of the natural order, a transgression against the gods. Your unconscious will block you to maintain loyalty to this archetypal pattern. But here is what you must understand. Archetypes are not destiny. They are patterns, potentials, possibilities. They have power over you only when they are unconscious. When you make them conscious, when you see them clearly, their autonomous power dissolves. You can choose which archetypes to embody consciously. You can choose the archetype of the sovereign, the creator, the abundant one. But you can only choose consciously what you first see clearly. As you begin to approach the truth about your money blocks, you will encounter resistance. Resistance is the psyche's defense mechanism. It arises to protect you from seeing what you have worked so hard to keep hidden. Resistance appears as rationalization, as intellectualization, as anger, as sudden sleepiness, as distraction, as skepticism. Right now, as you hear my words, you may feel resistance rising. You may find yourself thinking, this doesn't apply to me, or this is too simplistic, or I already know this. This is resistance, the ego protecting itself from the unconscious. Or you may feel sudden anger toward me, toward these words. You may think, who is this person to tell me my poverty is my own fault? This too is resistance, the shadow protecting its territory. If you feel nothing, if these words slide off you like water off stone, that is the most dangerous resistance of all. It is the resistance of numbness, of disconnection, of unconsciousness protecting itself. Listen to me. The degree of your resistance is the measure of your investment in staying unconscious. You are resisting because there is something here that threatens your current identity, your current understanding of yourself and your life. But here is the truth. Resistance is also a sign that you are approaching something real, something powerful, something transformative. We only resist what matters. We only defend against what has the power to change us. So do not run from your resistance. Face it. Feel it. Ask it. What are you? Protecting me from seeing? What truth am I afraid to know? Your resistance will not answer in words. It will answer in feelings, in images, in memories that arise. This is the language of the unconscious. Learn to speak it. Let us now examine the specific unconscious scripts about money that may be running in you. These scripts were written in childhood, in the first 7 years of your life, when your mind was most impressionable, most open, most vulnerable. They were written by what you observed, by what you felt, by what you absorbed from your environment. The script might say, "Money is the root of all evil." You heard this from religious authorities, from your parents, from culture. And though you consciously reject it now, it runs in the background, creating guilt and fear around wealth. Or the script might say, "Rich people are greedy and selfish." You formed this belief by observing wealthy people, or by absorbing your parents' resentment toward them. Now your unconscious protects you from becoming what you despise by ensuring you remain poor. Or the script says, "Money changes people for the worse." You saw how money brought conflict into your family, how it caused arguments and division. So your unconscious keeps money away to protect your relationships. Or perhaps the script says, "I am not the kind of person who has money." This is an identity script. You have categorized yourself as belonging to a certain class, a certain type, a certain level. And to move beyond that level would be to lose your identity, to lose belonging with your tribe. So you stay poor to stay yourself. Or the script says, "If I have money, people will want things from me. I will lose my freedom." This creates an unconscious association between wealth and burden, between abundance and obligation. So you avoid wealth to preserve your autonomy. Or perhaps the deepest script of all, "I don't deserve abundance. There is something fundamentally wrong with me." This script was written by experiences of shame, of being told you were not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy. And it runs constantly in the background, blocking every good thing from reaching you. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. These scripts are not theories. They are real psychological structures with real power over your behavior. And they will continue to run until you bring them into consciousness and rewrite them. Now I must tell you something that will surprise you. For many people, the real block to wealth is not the fear of not having, it is the fear of having. Having money requires you to step into power, to step into responsibility, to step into visibility. When you have money, you can no longer hide behind, "I can't afford it." You can no longer use poverty as an excuse for not living fully, not taking risks, not showing up in the world as you truly are. Money exposes you. It removes your excuses. It forces you to confront who you really are and what you really want. And for many people, this is terrifying. There is also the fear that having money will reveal your shadow. If you have money and you are still unhappy, then you can no longer blame your unhappiness on lack of money. You must face the deeper wounds, the deeper emptiness. Money will not save you, and your unconscious knows this. So it keeps you poor, so you can maintain the fantasy that money would solve everything. Moreover, having money can trigger deep guilt. Guilt about having more than your parents had. Guilt about having more than your friends have. Guilt about enjoying comfort while others suffer. This guilt is often unconscious, but it is powerful enough to sabotage wealth. If this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. You may not want to admit that you are afraid of having, afraid of power, afraid of your own light. But I must tell you what I have told many others. Sometimes it is easier to accept our darkness than to accept our light. Because darkness keeps us small, keeps us safe, keeps us hidden. But light makes us visible, makes us responsible, makes us powerful. And power is terrifying to the unconscious ego that has organized its entire existence around staying small. Now we arrive at the heart of the matter. We must speak of individuation, the process of becoming whole, of integrating the unconscious with the conscious, of becoming who you truly are. Individuation is not comfortable. It is not safe. It requires you to betray the expectations of your tribe, to disappoint those who want you to remain as you were, to step away from the collective and into your unique individual path. Your poverty may be serving your non-individuation. It may be keeping you tied to your family system, to your social class, to your identity as the struggling one, the suffering one, the one who never quite makes it. This identity gives you belonging, gives you a role, gives you a place in the collective. But it is not who you truly are. It is a costume you are wearing, a role you are playing, and it is crushing your soul. Individuation requires you to take off this costume, to step away from this role, to become something your family and your tribe may not recognize or approve of. This is why individuation feels like death, because in a sense, it is death, death of the false self, death of the persona, death of the collective identity. But beyond this death is rebirth. Beyond this death is your true self, waiting. Your true self has no fear of money. Your true self knows that abundance is natural, that wealth is simply energy flowing according to the pattern of wholeness within you. Your true self does not need poverty to prove its worth or its spirituality or its authenticity. Only the false self needs poverty. Only the ego needs to prove and defend itself through suffering. Listen carefully. I will say this only once. Your individuation process and your money situation are intimately connected. You cannot fully individuate while maintaining unconscious blocks to wealth, because those blocks are keeping you tied to the past, to your family system, to your false identity. And you cannot create lasting wealth without individuating, because wealth created from the false self will always be sabotaged, will always slip away, will always create suffering. The path to abundance is the path of individuation. It is the path of becoming whole, and this requires shadow work. Shadow work is the practice of consciously exploring the unconscious contents of your psyche. It is not positive thinking, it is not affirmations, it is not visualizing wealth while maintaining all your unconscious blocks. Shadow work is the opposite of these superficial practices. It is descent, not ascent. It is facing the darkness, not denying it. You must be willing to look at what you have been avoiding. You must be willing to feel what you have been repressing. You must be willing to admit what you have been denying. This is not comfortable. This is not easy. This is not quick. Shadow work takes courage, takes honesty, takes persistence. Most people will not do it. Most people will prefer to stay unconscious, to keep blaming external circumstances, to keep waiting for something outside themselves to change. But you are not most people, or you would not still be listening to me. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. Shadow work begins with one simple practice: paying attention to your resistance around money. Notice when you feel uncomfortable around the topic of money. Notice when you avoid looking at your bank account. Notice when you feel resentment toward wealthy people. Notice when you feel shame about your financial situation. Notice when you feel guilty for wanting more. Notice when you sabotage opportunities for abundance. These moments of discomfort, of avoidance, of emotion, these are the doorways to your shadow. These are the signs that something unconscious is being activated. When you notice these moments, do not run from them. Stop, breathe, feel. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of right now? What am I avoiding? What does this remind me of? Memories will arise, feelings will surface, old beliefs will become visible. This is the unconscious becoming conscious. This is the beginning of transformation. Write down what you discover. Keep a journal of your money shadow. Track the patterns, the triggers, the beliefs. Make the invisible visible. And then comes the most important part: integration. You must not just see your shadow. You must integrate it. You must bring it into relationship with your conscious ego. You must dialogue with it, understand it, accept it. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the disowned parts of yourself, and they are disowned usually for good reason. They were threatening to your survival as a child. You had to reject certain parts of yourself to be loved, to be safe, to belong. But you are not a child anymore. You do not need these defenses anymore. You can reclaim what you abandoned. Now I must speak to you about energy, about what some call vibration. Your unconscious beliefs about money create an energetic state within you. When you hold unconscious fear, shame, guilt, or unworthiness around money, you emanate this frequency, and like attracts like. You attract circumstances that match your internal state. This is not mystical. This is psychological. Your unconscious beliefs direct your attention, your decisions, your actions. When you unconsciously believe you are unworthy of wealth, you literally do not see opportunities that are right in front of you. You do not take actions that would lead to abundance. You make choices that confirm your unworthiness. This is what I mean when I say, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Your unconscious creates your reality, not through magic, but through the very real mechanism of selective attention and behavioral confirmation. You see what you believe. You experience what you expect. You create what you unconsciously decide. So when people speak about changing your vibration around money, what they are really speaking about is changing your unconscious beliefs. Because beliefs create feeling states, and feeling states direct behavior, and behavior creates results. You cannot fake this vibration. You cannot pretend to believe you are worthy of wealth while your shadow holds deep unworthiness. The unconscious cannot be fooled. It knows the truth, and it will continue to create poverty until you face that truth and transform it. If this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. I must also speak briefly about the collective consciousness, the shared field of beliefs and assumptions that operates in your society, in your culture, in your time. There are collective beliefs about money that have been passed down through generations. Beliefs about scarcity, about competition, about the necessity of struggle. These beliefs live in the collective unconscious, and they influence your individual psyche. When you think about money, you are not just accessing your personal beliefs. You are also tapping into centuries of collective conditioning around wealth, class, worthiness, and distribution of resources. This means that your money blocks are not just personal. They are also collective. You are carrying not just your own wounds, but the wounds of your ancestors, the wounds of your class, the wounds of your culture. This is important to understand because it helps you have compassion for yourself. You are not weak for having these blocks. You are human. You are embedded in a collective field that has been programming you since before you were born. But understanding this does not absolve you of responsibility. You still must do the work. You still must make conscious what is unconscious. You still must individuate out of the collective patterns that no longer serve you. This is the path of the individual to separate from the collective, to become conscious, to choose your own values and beliefs rather than unconsciously inheriting them. Integration is the goal of all this work. Integration means bringing together what has been split apart. It means reconciling the conscious and the unconscious, the persona and the shadow, the false self and the true self. In terms of money, integration means accepting all parts of your relationship with wealth, the desire and the fear, the shame and the pride, the guilt and the entitlement. None of these are bad. They are all simply parts of you that need to be seen, felt, and accepted. When you integrate your money shadow, something remarkable happens. The energy that was being used to repress these shadow contents becomes available to you. You suddenly have more life force, more creativity, more power. Moreover, you stop creating internal conflict. When your conscious mind wants wealth but your unconscious fears it, you are at war with yourself. This war drains your energy and creates stagnation. When you integrate these conflicting parts, the internal war ends. Your energy flows in one direction, and abundance becomes natural, effortless. Integration does not mean you become perfect. It means you become whole. It means you accept yourself completely, including your financial wounds, your money fears, your unconscious blocks. And in that acceptance, the blocks begin to dissolve. What you resist persists. What you accept transforms. This is the paradox of shadow work. Practice 1, the money autobiography. Sit down with a journal and write your money autobiography. Begin with your earliest memory involving money. What was the feeling? What was the message? Write without censoring, without trying to make it coherent. Just let the memories flow. Write about your parents' relationship with money, How did they speak about it? How did they behave around it? What emotions did money trigger in your household? Write about the messages you received about wealth from your family, from your religion, from your culture. Write about the wealthy people you knew as a child and how you felt about them. Write about your own financial history, your first job, your first money earned, your first purchase. Write about times you had money and times you didn't. Write about what patterns you notice. Do not analyze as you write. Just observe. Just remember. Just feel. This practice makes the unconscious conscious by bringing forgotten memories and associations into awareness. When you finish, read what you have written. Look for patterns. Look for beliefs. Look for the scripts that have been running your financial life. Now you can see them. Now they are conscious. Now you can choose whether to keep them or release them. Practice 2. The shadow money dialogue. This practice is more advanced. It requires you to speak directly with your money shadow. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Imagine your money block as a figure, a being, a presence. What does it look like? Give it form in your imagination. Now speak to it. Ask it, who are you? Why are you blocking my abundance? What are you protecting me from? Then wait. Listen. Allow answers to arise from your unconscious. They may come as words, as feelings, as images. Do not censor. Do not analyze. Just receive. Your shadow may say, I am protecting you from becoming like your father, who destroyed himself chasing money. Or it may say, I am keeping you humble so you remain loved. Or it may say, I am punishing you for being born. Whatever it says, listen. Thank it for protecting you. Acknowledge its positive intention. And then ask, what do you need from me so that you can allow wealth to flow? The shadow always has needs that are not being met. It is operating from wounds that need healing. When you dialogue with your shadow, you begin to integrate it. You begin to meet its needs consciously instead of having it sabotage you unconsciously. Write down this dialogue. Return to it regularly. Your relationship with your shadow is not a one-time conversation. It is an ongoing practice. Practice 3, projection withdrawal. Make a list of all the ways you blame external circumstances for your financial situation. The economy, your boss, your education, your location, your age, your lack of opportunities, the unfair system. Write them all down. Now, for each external blame, ask yourself, how might I be contributing to this situation through my unconscious beliefs or behaviors? This is not about self-blame. This is about taking your power back. Every time you blame something external, you give your power to that thing. When you recognize your internal contribution, you reclaim your power to change. For example, the economy is bad. Now ask, how might my unconscious beliefs be creating my experience of scarcity even in a bad economy? Are there others who are thriving despite the economy? What do they have that I lack? Is it external resources or is it internal beliefs? This practice is difficult. The ego hates it. The ego wants to maintain its victimhood, its innocence, its powerlessness. But the soul knows that true power comes from taking complete responsibility for your internal state. Withdraw your projections. Stop making money the enemy or the savior. Stop making the world responsible for your poverty. See your financial situation as a mirror of your unconscious beliefs, and then change the beliefs. Practice 4, the prosperity permission. Most people with money blocks have not given themselves permission to prosper. Sit quietly and speak these words aloud. I give myself permission to be wealthy. Notice what happens in your body. Notice the resistance. Notice the fear. Notice the voice that says, no, you don't. This is your unconscious block. Speak the permission again. I give myself permission to have more money than my parents had. Feel the guilt. Feel the sense of betrayal. Feel the loyalty to the family pattern. This is what has been blocking you. Speak again. I give myself permission to be visible, powerful, and abundant. Feel the terror. Feel the vulnerability. Feel the exposure. This is the fear of having. Keep speaking permissions until the emotional charge begins to decrease. This may take days, weeks, months. You are reprogramming your unconscious. You are giving yourself what was never given to you, permission to be fully yourself, to have what you desire, to claim your right to abundance. Write your own permissions. Make them specific to your blocks and speak them daily until they become integrated into your unconscious mind. Practice 5. The gratitude transmutation. This practice is about shifting your energetic relationship with money. Each day, write down 3 things you are grateful for in your current financial situation. Even if you are struggling, there is always something. You have food today, you have shelter, you have the ability to read these words. Gratitude shifts you out of scarcity consciousness and into abundance consciousness. It trains your attention to see what you have rather than only what you lack. But this is not about denying your problems or pretending everything is fine. This is about balancing your perception, because when your attention is only on what is missing, your unconscious creates more of what is missing. Attention is creative. What you focus on expands. Focus on scarcity, and scarcity expands. Focus on abundance, and abundance expands. This is not magical thinking. This is how the unconscious works. It seeks confirmation of what it already believes. When you practice gratitude, you train your unconscious to seek evidence of abundance, and it will find it, and finding it, it will create more of it. Practice 6. The worthiness work. At the core of most money blocks is a wound of unworthiness. You must do the deep work of healing this wound. This cannot be done through affirmations alone. You must go into the pain, into the shame, into the belief that you are fundamentally not enough. Sit with the feeling of unworthiness. Do not run from it. Do not try to change it. Just feel it completely. Where did it come from? What experience created it? What was the first time you felt you were not worthy? Go back to that moment in your imagination. See yourself as that child. Feel the pain that child felt. And then, as your adult self, go to that child. Hold that child. Tell that child, you are worthy exactly as you are. Your worthiness is inherent. It does not need to be earned. It cannot be lost. This is deep psychological work. It is reparenting your inner child. It is giving yourself the love and acceptance that you needed then and still need now. Do this practice regularly. The wound of unworthiness is deep. It will not heal in one session. But each time you offer yourself love and acceptance, you weaken the power of this wound. You integrate the part of yourself that was rejected. And as you do this, your relationship with money transforms. Because when you know your inherent worthiness, you no longer need to prove it through poverty. You no longer need to earn it through suffering. You can simply receive because you are. Practice 7. Active imagination with wealth. This is an advanced Jungian technique. Sit quietly and imagine yourself as already wealthy. Not just imagining the money, but imagining who you are as a wealthy person. How do you feel? How do you move? How do you speak? What is your energy? Allow this wealthy version of yourself to become vivid in your imagination. Give it form, give it presence. This is not fantasy. This is active imagination, a technique for dialoguing with unconscious potential. Now ask this wealthy version of yourself, what do I need to know? What do I need to change? What am I not seeing? Listen to what arises. This wealthy self is an aspect of your potential, an archetype of abundance within. It has wisdom to offer. It can show you what blocks are still operating, what fears are still active, what shifts need to happen. Write down what you learn, and then ask, what is one action I can take today to align with you? Take that action. Active imagination must be connected to action in the real world, otherwise it remains fantasy. But when you combine inner work with outer action, transformation accelerates. Let's talk about the conclusions now. Stop running from yourself. You have been given the truth today. You have been shown what has been hiding in your unconscious, directing your financial life, keeping you trapped in patterns you did not choose. What you do with this truth is now your responsibility. You can reject it. You can go back to blaming circumstances, to waiting for luck, to hoping that somehow things will change while you remain the same. Most people will choose this path. It is easier. It requires nothing of you. Or you can choose the path of consciousness. You can choose to face your shadow, to integrate your projections, to rewrite your unconscious scripts. You can choose to individuate, to become whole, to claim your right to abundance. Listen carefully. I will say this only once. This is not comfortable work. This is not quick. This will require you to face things you have been avoiding your entire life. It will require you to feel what you have been numbing. It will require you to change who you think you are. But this is the only path to freedom. This is the only path to authentic abundance, because wealth that comes without inner work will be lost, will be sabotaged, will create suffering. But wealth that comes from wholeness, from integration, from individuation, this wealth is stable, sustainable, aligned with your true self. You stand at a threshold. Behind you is the unconscious life, the scripted life, the life of patterns and compulsions and inherited beliefs. Ahead of you is the conscious life, the individuated life, the life of choice and power and authentic self-expression. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. The threshold will not wait forever. There are moments in life when consciousness is possible, when transformation is available, when the veil between the unconscious and conscious becomes thin. This is one of those moments. What blocks you is not the world. It is you. But if you can block yourself, you can also unblock yourself. The same power that creates the obstacle can remove the obstacle. Your unconscious has been directing your life, and you have been calling it fate. But fate is not fixed. Fate is the unconscious made external. When you make the unconscious conscious, fate dissolves. Destiny emerges. And destiny is the expression of your true self, unobstructed, flowing, powerful. You were not meant to be poor. You were not meant to struggle endlessly with money. You were not meant to feel shame and inadequacy around abundance. These are the wounds of your history, not the truth of your being. Your true self knows its worth. Your true self has no fear of receiving. Your true self understands that abundance is natural, that wealth is energy, that prosperity is an expression of wholeness. But you cannot access your true self while the false self is still in control. You cannot create authentic abundance while your shadow is sabotaging you. You cannot receive while your unconscious is blocking you. Do the work. Face your shadow. Integrate your projections. Heal your wounds. Rewrite your scripts. Give yourself permission. This is your task. This is your path. This is your individuation. If this hurts, it is because you are finally hearing the truth. Let it hurt. Let it crack you open. Let it break apart the false structures you have been maintaining, because on the other side of this breaking is your wholeness. On the other side of this death is your rebirth. You have been asleep. Wake up. You have been unconscious. Become conscious. You have been running. Stop. Turn around. Face what you have been fleeing. It is not as terrible as you fear. It is simply you, the parts of yourself you abandoned, waiting to be reclaimed. And when you reclaim them, when you integrate them, when you become whole, wealth will flow to you naturally. Not because you chased it, not because you worked harder, but because you removed the internal obstacles that were blocking its natural flow. This is the path. This is the way. This is the truth I have offered you today. Now you must walk it yourself. No one can walk it for you. No technique, no teacher, no external circumstance can do this work for you. This is the work of individuation, and it is solitary. It is difficult. It is essential. But you are not alone. The unconscious itself supports this work because the unconscious wants to become conscious. The self wants to emerge. Your soul wants to individuate. There are forces within you, deeper than your ego, stronger than your resistance, that are aligned with your transformation. Trust these forces. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Stop running from yourself. Stop hiding from your power. Stop denying your worth. Stop blocking your abundance. Become who you are. The rest will follow. This is my teaching. This is my truth. This is what I offer you. The choice, as always, is yours. Pay attention. I am not here to waste your time. Your life is finite. Your time is limited. Every day you spend unconscious is a day you cannot reclaim. Begin today. Begin now. Face your shadow. Make the unconscious conscious. Transform your fate into your destiny. This is the path of individuation. This is the path of abundance. This is the path of becoming whole. Walk it with courage. Walk it with honesty. Walk it with complete commitment to the truth of who you are. And you will find, on the other side of your fear, on the other side of your resistance, on the other side of your unconscious blocks, abundance beyond what you imagined, freedom beyond what you hoped for, wholeness beyond what you dreamed possible. This is not a promise. This is a psychological law. Integration leads to wholeness. Wholeness leads to power. Power leads to authentic abundance. You have heard the truth today. Now you must live it.